Welcome back, guys. This is Paula, and I am doing the Little Golden Book, The Christmas Tree That Grew. And I don't know if any of you ever read that, but it's a really cute little book. So basically, my theme, if you want to call it a theme, I don't really have one, but I'm trying to keep it on the Christmas tree and Christmas ornaments and throwing in a candy cane or two. So tonight I'm going to attempt to use my Copics, which I haven't used in over a year, on this little Christmas tree I stamped. This is Copic friendly paper. I'm trying to find the name of it. It's X Press It is the name of it. But you know, you can get any kind of Copic blending type paper. And I've already laid out my pens. I may decide I don't want to use as many on each color, but I've stamped it 3 times. This is probably the better one. I have colored this once before. I'm going to make it a tag, but it's been some time. So let's get started. I hope my big head doesn't get in there. You know, I'm a little bit on the blind side. That's what I always say. Not true though. I don't think I am going to use the very, very lightest in the green. I'm going to use YG03, YG17, and YG67. And we'll just see what happens. Because the area is not, let me make sure you're still in close. Let me move it over a little bit. There we go. Okay, so this, I have not used my Copics since my vision has been as bad as it is right now. But basically, you take your lightest color, and we're just going to color for an hour. I mean, if we can get it done before then. I just now made a boo-boo because that was the angel's wings. But you know what? We're gonna go with it, and then we'll go over them with a blue. This is a Magnolia stamp. It's just called Magnolia Christmas Tree. You can just type that in. I know Amazon carries them. And but you got to be careful when you buy the Magnolia stamps, because I have experienced some, I don't want to say bad things with them, because I love their stamps, but you have to really read the fine print, because they make little tiny mini stamps, which I would never order because I can't see well enough. I'm going to kind of, I'm going to have to turn my fan off right here, guys, because it's going to dry my ink. But anyway, you start with your lightest, you cover the whole area, then you shade with your middle tone, and which like I said, there's not a whole lot of shading to be done here, because it's teeny tiny spaces. But anyway, back to the Magnolia experience. I got some of the teeny tiniest little stamps. And I just beat myself up over it, because, you know, these type of stamps are not, you know, I don't think are as cheap as some of the others, because they're in higher demand. Okay, so we've got our second color, and what you want to do is, you know, where you just think about where your shadows would be. And I can bear this is so tiny that you can barely even touch the paper without, you know, worrying that you're going to get out of lines. I don't Copic color as much as I used to because my vision's, you know, really gone downhill the last year, but I love it. And I'm just doing a section at a time because, you know, it can dry out on you. And then you don't, you know, because you want to kind of do a section at a time so you can kind of keep it wet. Now, because these are so, this space is so tiny, I don't know if I'm going to use, there was actually 4 colors, so I'm only using 3. I see how I got out of the lines there a little bit. I hope you guys can see. I've got it zoomed in. All right. Okay, now you go back with your medium tone. Because this is so small, I'm just going to go back with my light tone and kind of skip over the... You don't see a huge difference because it's so small. But believe it or not, I've just colored it in before to see if there was a big difference. And there is. I mean, you can obviously tell the difference. Okay, so I'm going to take my 0 and see if I can't push that little bit of green back in. So what you do is you just go on the outside of the stamp and you don't pull out, you push in. And sometimes it will leave a little place. It's not a big deal to me. I don't care about perfection with this. Okay, so we're going to continue. Fill in the whole thing with your lightest color. And when I did this little book, this stamp was the first thing I thought of, because I had done it for Christmas cards a few years ago. Their little characters are really cute too. Just in case you have never seen them, you need to go check them out. And you can get them cheaper at some places compared to others. And there are certain ones this time of year that are harder to get. When this little tree came to my house, when I discovered how tiny all the areas were, I was like, girl, you're crazy for thinking you can do that. But it's very detailed, but a lot of fun. Okay, so we did those 2 branches, so we're going to go back with our medium and bring in some shading. And I'm just shading really probably from the wrong end. It really needs to be up against the branches instead of at the tips. But I make my own rules. I don't know about you guys. As long as when I'm done it satisfies me, that's all I care about. Okay. Obviously, I wouldn't, if it didn't end up looking good, I wouldn't give it to anybody, but so we'll just see how our luck holds out. Because if I can't conquer it, chances are I won't try a second time. Especially as detailed as it is, because, you know, puts the strain on old eyes. It's real easy when you get, if you push down too hard at all, it will widen significantly. I'm sure most of you have done Copics, or a lot of you, I'll put it that way. I hope you guys are having a good evening. I could hardly wait to get my video going. Sadie is really not cooperating with me doing videos during the day, so my husband's been watching her in the evenings so that I can Not every day, but if it's anything that I need to pay close attention to, especially because she doesn't want me to do anything but pay attention to her. So she went to the vet and had her rabies shot yesterday. And the vet said she's in good health. And my husband took her this time, and so I could try to get something done while he was gone. Anyway, she weighed not quite 3.5 pounds. And the vet said she didn't have to see her back until she was ready to be spayed. So, which is the first week in December. So, she wanted her to be a little bit older than most dogs because of her size. But listen, she got her big girl shots and didn't break out or anything. I did give her Benadryl, but we've had a small dog react to their shots before. It's not fun. I mean, her whole face swelled up, and it was a Maltese, and it was awful. It scared me. I thought, oh no. So I'm going to this big scrapbooking, I want to say retreat, but it's really not. Like, I guess it's a retreat. We're getting out of here, so that's about as much of a retreat as it's in a small town. Well, it's not huge. It's a lake. I think it's Grand Lake. But anyway, and it's called Kiss. It's a crop is what it is, but there'll be vendors there, and I guess local vendors. And there's classes, and my sister's coming up, and we're gonna do it, go to it together. It's probably an hour and a half or two from my house, but get this, over 400 women. That's a huge. It'd be the biggest crop I've ever been to. Let me make sure you're still in camera. Oh gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just chatting away and you can't even see. I'll try to keep it right here, I promise. I wasn't, you know how you just start coloring and you move your page to wherever you're at. You have to look on this stamp carefully, because what might look like a stem or a branch isn't. They kind of blend together. That's why the angel got green wings. We're hoping once Sadie gets spayed, she'll calm down a little bit. She's doing real good on her going to the door now, and which is a huge relief. But she is a pistol. Let me tell you. I told her the other night that I had a dog once that we got rid of because she was such a handful. I said, Sadie, we got rid of Gracie for less issues. She was being so ornery. I just wanted to strangle her. And anyway, I'm kind of just doing my own thing with this, you know, just trying to give it a little bit of different tones because it's so tiny. I am getting up against things that would be shadows, but I'm not worrying about it being perfect. I'm just trying to stay inside the lines because honestly, it's tiny. Well, I say tiny. Let's measure it. It depends on what you think tiny is, I guess. It is 3 inches tall. So you can kind of visualize. It's not huge. Sadie is giving my husband issues. I can hear him in the other room. It's like she gets wired up when he gets home. She knows the routine during the day, I think. And then when he gets home, it's like, okay, Dad's home. We can party. But Dad's not ready to party when he gets home. I don't mean to be quiet. I'm just trying to concentrate and stay in line. Okay, now we're going to go to the third tone, or the darkest tone. I think this part would go faster if it wasn't so tiny. Because really it's not something that you can show your blending techniques with because it's so tiny. Now you can on the bulbs. You'll be able to notice the difference. The key is to not just to use the very tip of your pen, or your marker, I guess I should say. Okay. All right, now you go back to I'm skipping the medium and I'm just going back to the light each time because there's really not room to just keep putting a color over another color. As long as it looks right when you're done. Just don't look super close. I'm sure it's not perfect, but you know, a lot of people will say it's so relaxing to color. I don't feel that way. I think it makes me a little more tense, especially if I'm doing it for a purpose. You probably can hear Sadie. She's being a loud mouth. My husband's going shh to her. She just wants to go outside all the time. Like, I bet I've taken her out today. I'm going to push this up a little bit because we're going to work on the bottom. Yesterday, I took her out over and over and over. And all she wants to do is roll in the grass, eat leaves and grass, bird feathers, you name it. She tries to do it. Start running, doing cartwheels. I tell her, I think you're going a little crazy right now. I tell my husband also that she's probably thinking, how did I end up with these two old people? Why couldn't I get an active, happy, crazy family instead of these old people? You know, we're like just worn out from watching her because we're not used to, you know, having that kind of activity. So we're like, oh my gosh, we just kind of look at each other like, what do we do? But we love her. At the same time, we just love her. And I think she is getting better, but she's getting braver. And so, which means basically she is stubborn and she won't do exactly what we say. No doesn't mean a thing to her. Literally does not mean a thing to her. I'm telling you, she is, oh my marker doesn't want to, the lid was not cooperating. That is so weird. There. I must have just been, okay, this is the dark color. The YG67, and I'm just going in the areas that would be dark. And and then I'll go back and fill the whole thing in. I think the lower part of the tree looks better than the top part of the tree. I'm getting more of the hang of it, I think. It's been so long. Okay. One last green. Okay. Just kind of on the last one, you just want to blend them, you know, go from the dark to the, just kind of push the color out to the ends. We have a lot of, around our house, we have a lot of cords, you know. I think everybody does in this day and time. But, yep, Sadie loves the cords. We have to watch her from the cords. You name it, we have to watch her from it. Okay, guys, I think the green is finished, except I'm going to use one little area here. I think I kind of got out of. Try this little chisel tip and see if I can push that back. Yep, already worked. Okay, so the green is done. I know that down the middle is supposed to be brown because it is a stem, but I am not gonna worry about that because that's just too crazy for me. Okay, so this bag that it sets in, we're gonna do it, we'll go ahead and do it like in a brown tone since we didn't do the stem. We'll let that make up for it. I'm telling you, you can tell I haven't used these. It's like the lids don't, at least they're still working, right? Okay, so we're going to start with the lightest. Oh no, hold on a second. All right, let me plug my phone in. Hold on. All right, guys, I'm coming back. I'm sorry. Aunt Sadie has come in to the room, which is not cool. My battery on my phone is trying to run out. So that is weird because I've barely been on it today. I don't know if it's going to even reach my cord, but I'm sure going to try. Excuse me for a second while I attempt to get it plugged in. Oh, there she goes. She's growling, guys. I'm trying to lay my... There we go. I think I got it. Now, my husband can catch the dog. There she goes, you guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to fill in with the lightest color, and which is the E35. And we'll fill the whole thing in, and then we'll go back and give it shadows. Okay. I'm normally not this quiet, but when you start concentrating, you don't realize how you really just don't have much to say. Okay, so I'm going to go in. We're going to start pulling in some dark underneath wherever it would be dark. So, and that will make your shading start looking a little more realistic. And believe it or not, when this is completely done, at least when I did them for Christmas, I didn't do one for everybody because they're just too time consuming. But when it was done, it's really a pretty image. I was surprised. Okay, now that's the darkest. We'll go back to the medium. Kind of start coming out a little bit more. And you'll be able to see some of the highlights. I'll hold it up for you. And okay, now we'll go back to the light. You just take the dark and drag it into the light is what you do. And decide where your light source is going to be. I don't have a light source. You may see light on the left, and you may see light on the right. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll hold it up every now and then. Okay, so we've got the brown done. We need to do something with the angel wings because they're green right now. We'll do that in a little bit, but right now I want to just try to do the star. And let me make sure I pulled it back down. There we go. Now this is kind of it's not really a true yellow to me. It doesn't look yellow. I'm going to toss this one. I don't know how I ended up with that. Anyway, I'm not going to do a whole lot on the star because honestly, I only have a couple yellows. I guess I never completed my, I've got a lot of colors, don't get me wrong. I've got a lot of colors. I just, for some reason, I don't have as many yellow as I do everything else. So, and I can't remember if I used yellow anywhere else or not. So, and I can't remember if I did anything with these lines. I'm not going to put Copic on them. The lines that show the, you know, the light of the star. I think I'll wait and decide after I'm completely done on that. Okay, so let me think what we want to do with the angel wings. I did not pull any pink out, but I'm going to see if the pink, it's not going to really do anything. It's just making it want to look brown. I tell you what we'll do when we're all done, we will go over the angel's wings with like silver or gold. Okay, so now I think we're going to do blue. We'll do lighter blue tones, or maybe the darker. We'll do darker blue tones on the bird. Let me make sure I'm in frame for you. Okay, so we're going to use B95. And again, I'm just filling in the whole bird. And I'm kind of sticking with green and red, blue, violet, and of course the star is yellow. I decided not to go crazy and try to use every color I had because I think it can get a little crazy when you do that. Okay. So I'm going to go under the bird's neck and under its body, under its neck. Basically, the key word is under. Under this and under that. And I'm not even worrying about the beak. because they've got it drawn together. So they're obviously didn't expect people to get that detailed because the image is so small. Okay, and that's the dark, so we're going to go back to the medium and start blending out. So tiny you can't even tell that what he looks like. And again, I'm not worrying about little tiny details. Now if you color something and you decide you want to lighten it, you can take your zero colorless blender and like I'm going to put it around his little face a little bit so his face doesn't look so, and you'll notice that his eyes are starting to, I'm going to kind of do it in here so it gives him a little more light. I don't want him to be so dark. There we go. And so the little bird is done. That's how fast that happened. Okay, so we are going to do the bell. Let's do the angel's dress. Let's do it violet. So we're going to start with our lightest color. I didn't get my flesh tones out. I just realized it. Start with the lightest color, and I'm going to see what happens if I put some on. See, the wings are still, it's just muddying them up because I'm not going according to the color wheel. That's all right. We'll put some silver on there or gold or something. Okay, so under her neck, we're going to start pulling some darkness out and on her back side there and underneath. And we'll keep doing that with the darker color. And then we'll come back with the medium color. I know that people look at Copic coloring and they think, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but the results are so much better than anything else that I've ever, any colors I've ever used. Excuse me. I can't remember what flesh tones I use. I'm going to use, let's see if I can find it real quick. E50. I forgot that I have to do her little face. And E51 and E21. I'm not going to go super dark. I'm not going to go crazy here. We're just doing a little teeny tiny circle. So we're just going to do her little face. Seriously, you guys, it's smaller than the end of a pencil. And then we're going to do the darker color. And you can't even tell. I'm just going to fill it in with this flesh color. Because honestly, you can't even tell. I just noticed a little tiny section, that a very tip of a, whoops, wrong side. Very tip of the tree branch is right by her head. There we go. That's why you keep all your colors out and together, because you never know when you're going to come up on something like that. Her wings are driving me crazy, so I'm going to get the gold. It's just a uniball. And I'm just going to, and I'll do this, I'll use some different colors on here, but her wings are bugging me. And I want you to see how you can fix little mistakes. There you go. I'll hold it up and let you see. Big difference. I've learned how to fix mistakes because I've made a lot over the years. You know, it's just a fact. Okay, we're going to do our candy cane. So we're going to, I think with the candy cane, we're only going to use 2 colors. So we're going to use our medium color, which is R46. Make sure you guys can see. Okay. So you will feel, now I'll tell you a little secret about red. You're going to fill the whole space in with your lightest tone, but you do not want to flub up with red, because I don't think there's anything that can erase a mistake with red. That's why I'm quiet, see, because I don't want to mess up with the red. Now I'm coming in with a darker red, which really looks maroon, but it's not. Okay, so underneath you want to pull up, kind of make it look like it's round, you know. Kind of make your strokes where it's like they're, you know, you're going around. And you won't be able to tell a whole lot of difference, but when I'm sitting here looking, I can tell the difference, because there's some light points. Now I'm just leaving the white. I'll probably go over it with a white uniball at some point. Okay, so let's go for this little ball next to, trying to think what color we're going to do it, because let's do it yellow. I'm trying to separate, we'll do the middle yellow. Trying to separate the colors out a little bit, because I don't have a whole lot of colors out. I'm trying to think what I forgot to get out. I'm looking, I didn't do pink, but pink's not really a Christmas color, you know? So again, you're going to want to follow the shape of your ornament. Now, that is that part. Now, what color do we want to do the rest of it? I'm thinking. I think I'm going to grab, this is kind of a greenish blue. And I don't even know, I'm just going to, you just want to stay in the same family. Like, this is G-O-T, ooh, but I really like the BGs. Here, I'm going to do these instead. I've got BG11, BG32. They tell you, I think, if I remember right, they tell you to stay, you know, within so many numbers. Now, that's a big jump. Let me see if I have any more BGs. Okay, these are the 4 that I have. Oh, I have 5. I have 5 BGs in the blue tones. So, I'm going to look here. I'm going to go with this one and these 2. The reason I want to go, oh, good grief. I put washi tape on here to know not to touch the washi tape, to always open the other side. I used to feel like I spent most of my time taking the lid on and off, because it was, you know, with the chisel tip, which nobody ever uses. I've only seen one person do that. And on a YouTube video, her name was Sandy something, but anyway, she would fill in who wants to do backgrounds? She would fill in backgrounds. And I used to think, she's nuts. But she's quite an artist when it comes to Copics. And there's several people. If you ever get interested in them, first of all, never buy from the Copic people. I want to say I just watched and got mine through Amazon. There's like set A, B, C, and D, I think. And I think I bought the B set, and then I started filling in some that I, didn't have. I'm going to hold this up in just a second so you can see the light areas, so you can see the difference. Okay. Gonna have to speed up a little bit. We're already into 40 something. Okay, let's go back to the red. Let's make this big one red. I think we'll do the bottom red, and I don't know what we'll do with the top yet. I did get out a tiny bit right there. When you get in a hurry, it's, I looked at how much time we have and started speeding up a little bit. You really can't do that with Copics. Gotta take your time unless you're an expert. That's a different story. I personally don't know anybody that is. I think we all want to be when it comes to something like this. I used to watch videos of people with Copics. Oh my gosh, I would watch them every day at some point. Because as a little girl, I used to, my thing was coloring. We didn't have a lot of options like kids do now. We just used our crayons, our colored pencils. That was about it. Okay, now this is going to be our darkest red, and I'm going to kind of, the angle of this ornament is different than the others, so I'm just going to not worry about going from side to side because the angle's different. Just kind of swishing it up. Okay, and I'm just going to skip over the medium and go straight to the light because I like it to have that that brightness in some places. Okay. All right, let me get my clear to kind of push that back a little bit. I don't want it to, there we go. I'm surprised that worked with the red. I'll tell you something else about the red that you'll want to know. It bleeds. So if you get out of lines with it, it's gonna bleed. I'll just tell you right now. It doesn't cooperate. Okay, I'm trying to think what color we want the top. I guess I'm gonna pull out some of these more white tones. These are really gray. Let me see. This E40 is brick white. I just told myself, and this one's pearl white. And I don't recall ever using them together, but I'm gonna do the top here white. And the reason I'm gonna do that is I just, if you don't, it's gonna look kind of, I'm trying not to get my white into my red because there's no telling what it would do. I'm sure it would start, because they're both still wet, it would blend into it. So what I'm going to do to give this the red a second to dry, is I'm going to jump over to my candy cane and go ahead and put some white. I wasn't going to, but since I have it out, it will look better if I do. There we go. All right, now I'm going to go to this other white. I don't know what it will do. We'll see, guys. It's got more of a pearl color. The nice thing is like with the red and the white together, you can always use your Uniball pins and go in and do something to change it up a little bit. I'm going to do this spell right down here in yellow. I'm trying to kind of spread the colors out a little bit here. I'm sure you guys realize what I'm doing. And there's not much to this one except just, you know, coloring it in. I'll try to see if I can give it a darker shade also. There we go. That one was easy. I'm wondering if we shouldn't do the other bell that color. Okay, so we're going to do this one down here, blue. And we'll go with the lighter tones of blue. So 91 or 80, let me see. 90, 91, 93, and maybe 95. We'll just have to see. We went with the darker blues last time with the bird. But I am going to color the whole thing in, which takes just seconds, and then I will try to follow the shape of the ball. So, because if you can kind of shape it like it's on the sides and try to follow it like the shape of the ball, you will get more of a dimension, or I guess you could say more 3D looking. Never heard anybody say that before, but that's how it looks to me. And we'll go back with the lightest. And I just really, what I did just then is just try to give it some highlights. Okay, now let me get back in frame. Let's look at this one. Oh no, let's do this one, lavender, over here. I'm just trying to stick with a simple color scheme here. I'm just going to color the whole thing and then come back with some darker lines with my Uniball. Now, I'm not going to edit this video, guys, like a lot of people who do Copics, because, you know, I don't know how to edit on my thing yet, but, you know, we'll get there eventually. But I don't, you know, I just decided I wanted to do this tree because I remembered it from when I did it before. And this little book is precious. I thought, well, it would look cute if it had this as a little tag. And then we won't get to do it on the video, but I will end up probably, I don't know what I'll do with the background. I'll probably matte something, try to put some glitter around it, or not glitter, but you know, something shiny. Okay, so I'm trying to decide what color to put on this because there's nothing, everything around it we've used. So we're going to pull out some pink. We're just going to go for it and do some pink. This is RV Colors. It's RV 21, 34, and let's see. And RV 06, which is weird because the RV 21 is the lightest. We'll just see what happens. I didn't intend on bringing any pink in, but and just the way it fell, I don't remember what colors I used before. No idea. It was that quick. Yeah, that's a this is like a fuchsia. And that's okay. Really, they don't mesh that well together, but they're okay. All right, so now we have this last one here, and I wanted to do it in red, but that's not going to work. So let me think for a second, guys. I think I'm going to use 3 different colors on it because it has 3 different areas. So we're going to do lavender on the bottom, and okay, I'm just using 2 colors. Crud. That's the 3rd time I've done that now. Pull out my... Okay. And just blend it with your lighter tone. Okay, now in the middle, I think we're going to do... This is a weird combination. Let's do a light blue on the... or a darker blue. Let's do a darker blue on the top. We'll go with 95. And I may just go in there and put in the center, put the gold uniball. I think I would like that better than... I want to give it a little bit of glitz. So we got 95, 97. Oh, good grief. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to hurry so we can do as much of this as we can with the time allotted. Okay. Then I'll go back with the lighter tone. Okay. And we'll do that center with the gold uniball pen. And probably we'll do some other colors that will kind of brighten it up a little bit. It's so quiet in here that you could hear a pin drop. It is, you know, usually we have the TV blaring or whatever, you know. Okay. I'm doing the top of these little bulbs, the ones that have bulbs in gold. And I'm going to go back with my red uniball. I have a white and I have a blue. Now if I can just find my red, I've got silver, but I don't want to mix silver and gold. Okay, there's the red. We're going to put red berries, these berries, little tiny berries, we're going to do them red. Because the uniballs have a little bit of shine, that's why I wanted to use them. I hope you guys can see this. They're so tiny. Okay. Try not to have my hand over it, but I'll back away each section. How's that? Okay. Little red berries. And again, this isn't like professional Copic coloring, but it turned out okay for my first time in a long time. And I'll probably put some highlights on things too, just so you guys know that. I'm trying to stay out of, trying to not cover up the image and not mess up at the very last minute. That would be frustrating. Okay, I think we got all the little berries. I don't remember what I did with the strings before. Let me get my black. Let me see what that will. Let us see what happens. This is a risk. I'm going to do the little angel's eyes and her little nose. You probably can see it better now. And I'm going to do the bird's eye. And I'm going to do the little strings. Let me make sure you can see. Move some of these markers out of the way. It would probably help. And if it doesn't, if your strings, like, you know, the key is not to go slow. If you get a extra line, it's not a big deal. The main thing is that they don't just blend in the background. I'm not trying to be perfectly on the stamped image. I'm just trying to let me make sure I got them all. I'm going to get the little angel's halo, because parts of the image a lot of times gets washed out whenever you color over it. So let me look and make sure we've gotten everything. I can see one little spot right here that's supposed to be green. I know this is so picky, but I think that's the only one we missed. Okay, so let's get our white Uniball out, and if you can't get it going, just rub it on your finger. I'm gonna just do little highlights on the sides of each ornament, and just to kind of give it a little bit of, I guess, dimension. I don't know what you call it. Okay, we need one here. I just do like a little tiny ball and just kind of slash it. I'm getting really brave. I just gave the bird a little bit of an eye. Okay, now I'm thinking sometimes that's not too good for you. I feel like it's setting in the air, so I'm just gonna kind of, there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm doing this. I'm just trying to make it look like it's setting on the ground. Let's see what it looks like if hopefully I don't get down here at the end. And I'm using the gold Uniball on the light rays, the rays of the star. And again, I'm outlining, and I'm not worrying about being perfect because I'm nearly done now. Because it will never be exactly like it is. You know, that's just how it is. I think I'm going to use a little bit of this blue. I love this blue. I don't know where I'm going to use it, but I'm going to, maybe right here. Let's just put it on this little line. Isn't that pretty? I love that blue. Let's make sure, I'm just looking to make sure I didn't miss something. Okay, guys, I'm just going to put my name right here, PB, with a little heart. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I would love for you to come back and watch. and I will be back with the completion of my mixed media project maybe tomorrow. That's the plan, and hopefully we can get it done in one session. All right, guys, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.